Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest HFS Hot Vendor Fireside Chat. My name's Sam Duncan. I'm one of the analysts here at HFS. Today, I'm joined by Kustaa, the co-founder and CEO of Workfellow. So for those of you that don't know, Workfellow is one of the latest entrants into the ever-changing process intelligence market. It was founded back in the back end, I think, December of 2019 out of Helsinki in Finland. Now, we think the process intelligence market's really exciting. So there's always going to be sort of an interest from us in new vendors, but I can say that's not the only reason we've decided to highlight Workfellow as a hot vendor. So just as a background, so we recently published a study into the state of the process intelligence market, and we found that, I'm trying to pull the numbers, I think it was over 2/3 of enterprises believed that the process intelligence itself was too complex to use effectively in their organization. But on the flip side of that, the exact same sample set, 90% of executives agreed that it could be hugely significant in driving value throughout their business. So naturally, we're inquisitive people. We asked why. So we went out and we spoke to enterprise clients, and we found that implementation challenges were the main thing holding them back. So if you think many traditional process intelligence solutions have to be sort of layered and integrated around complex ERP systems, which takes time, it takes money, and it's, to be frank, not easy. And that's exactly the challenge that Kustaa and the team at Workfellow are trying to solve, and ultimately why we picked them as a HFS hot vendor. So their flagship product, Work API, rather than sort of being caked around these ERP systems, collects desktop level data, skipping the challenge entirely. But I mean, I can talk about it all day, but I think you've heard enough from me for now. So Kustaa, do you maybe want to introduce yourself and tell us in your own words how Workfellow is solving this problem?
Thanks, Sam. A pleasure to be here. My name is Kustaa Kivelä. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Workfellow, and have a long history working with process insights and understanding what really happens in the business operations, from a PPO side, and then working as a consultant for leading enterprises in Europe. And one of the biggest problems, of course, was the access to the data and getting the understanding of what happens in the business operations. And when I started in the outsourcing business, we had to play with the customer systems to execute those processes. And one of the big topics back in the days when I started was to implement robotic process automation. And my job with my team was to really find those insights and define where to implement automations. And there I learned the problem of not having the data used. And you cannot use the data because you are playing with the customer systems, and you cannot use the traditional way to access the data. Then I went to consulting, helping enterprises. I learned how costful it might be that if you have access to data, but the data quality is poor, and you have to clean the data and then make the insights and build the dashboards, and it was so hard for the companies, and still there was many systems where you simply doesn't have the access. So we started to think about with my friend who we used to work a lot with RPAs, that all the data is basically, before it's entering the databases, people are doing the activities on the UI front. And we thought about it's possible with the robotics to pick information from the UI, so why wouldn't be just pick those kind of information what we need from the UI, invoice numbers, and just create the event logs before they are going as a data into the databases. And that was the idea about the Work API. So really understanding what kind of information we fetch while people are working on the computers, and create the event logs to be used, and then drive these process algorithms to visualize the data and get the insights, and really fast way to get to the value. So basically jumping over all the data integrations, accessing the data issues, data cleaning, because you define what kind of data should be created. So as a simple way to understand it, it's if there is a location in the UI where is invoice number, every time there is a unique number going, we build event logs based on that one, and then we visualize that. So the implementation part is hours and not many years or months to get into a tangible results.
Perfect. No, it makes perfect sense. I think it's great if you scrape the data before it gets into the complex environment, you're saving half the job. So looking back a little bit, 2019, I think you got to watch the process intelligence market kind of for the first few years, I think. How did that sort of shape Workfellow? Sort of what inspired you to start Workfellow, and how have the last 3 years gone?
Well, yeah, so we started I think Henry started, my co-founder, in robotics 2014. I went to 2016 to this intelligent automation space, and we really much could solve all kind of problems, customer problems with technologies available in the market. But one of the biggest problems always or we felt the burden every single day that what is the reality? What is going on? To have this kind of a really tangible data and insights about what is really going on the business operations. So we were suffering from that problem daily basis. So that's basically put us to start Workfellow, and we officially actually launched in July 2020 when we started to build our product, and we have been operative 2.5 years right now. So first year was really about testing, fine-tuning. Can we make it work, run on the background of the computers, and create those event logs, and then get valuable insights for our customers based on that. And that was pivoting a little bit, trying to figure it out how we should be building the product and working with the very, very early customers. And then we found a way to do it so that it's really unleashing lots of value for our customers. And the last 1.5 years we raised a little bit funding, and then we have been building the product, and now we are there that our product is in a very good shape, and it's scalable, modern tech platform which we can help customers to transform their operations. And we just before summer we launched our commercial operations, so we hired sales and marketing teams. Now we are seeing a very good traction from the customer side, that we are really resonating for those kind of large companies who are facing this implementation challenge in a large scale, who were very first companies to adopt traditional process mining, very first with the automation programs, intelligent automations, and we are seeing lots of traction right now there. And of course a big thing for us is this HFS Hot Vendor status, because I have been reading your research from 2016 onwards when I entered intelligent automation space. So that has been our journey right now. So looking very much forward to now helping these customers to tackle these big problems.
No, that's great. And I think from our perspective, when we were sort of digging into Workfellow a little bit, the growth was really impressive. You talk last summer launching the commercial arm and speaking to your clients and stuff. They were super pleased with sort of the service you were, for the product you were providing, etc. And I think that kind of leads me on to my next point of, what do you think is the secret sauce? Is it the data capture approach? Is there a little bit more to it? So again, the theme I found with your customers, a lot of people praised the way you collect the data means you can have a good approach to employee data privacy, which we find is quite a big topic when we're deploying these products. I think if your employees don't like it as an organization, you've got to get buy-in, right, from the stakeholders. So if they don't like it, you're going to get a little pushback, and then it might sort of be a roadblock to something like this before it happens. And again, that was something your clients complimented. But is there anything else to it? Is there some secret sauce that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I think it's starting from we approached everything from the business perspective, starting building the whole new product from the scratch, thinking about what are the biggest problems in adoptions, but also with the insights, and started building totally new products. So one adoption problems were implementation, getting data access, also the privacy is I think a very big one. We are a European company with Nordic values, and employee privacy and security is a very, very important for us. So we decided it so that it's really good for employees, and we are not breaching anything, and making sure that company who are buying from us can be sure that there is no problems. Then of course the insights. So one of the I would say secret sauce in that sense is when in our approach, when we take the event logs from the UI and what is happening on the screen, of course it's giving lots of flexibility to do very deep analysis about which customers we are serving, how much time, which suppliers are causing biggest manual problems and handling problems for us. But also having this kind of a team view of how processes are going from the team perspective. So it's bringing that very tangible for the companies to understand that where is the problems, how we can fix those, and that is really much about like our core that like we can combine that process and task understanding in the same package. And like most of our customers, they are like educated enough to understand like that like we need to understand like how the processes are going. We have to understand how work happens, but like we also have to understand how our systems are supporting the work and processes, because the majority of the like productivity comes if the systems are like working as properly as they should be, empower those people to execute the work what is required to do. So I think those are the like adoption side. We have been tackling that a lot, but like also that like our insights are very business driven in that sense and helping the companies to do the transformation.
No, perfect. I think the true value of process intelligence is when you can look through the layers of sort of a business process isn't sort of two-dimensional, right? So your approach sort of gives the full 3D transparency, which then organizations can use to really drive process efficiency. So that makes a lot of sense. And I guess, what about the market as a whole? I touched earlier, it's ever changing. We see acquisitions, we see investments. Sort of, I think from my perspective, I sort of see two sides to this. So you look at the last year, there was some huge acquisitions. And I think that's good because you're putting these process intelligence tools into the hands of more organizations. And, you know, it's not the easiest thing to adopt. We've touched on that. Workfellow is going a good way to helping with that. And maybe this sort of market consolidation also is going to help there too. But on the flip side, if I'm an enterprise and I want a pure play process intelligence vendor, how can I choose someone? Because they might get acquired tomorrow, right? Like, so what do you think about that? Is it good? Is it bad?
Well, when things are happening in the space, it's always interesting, and like I think it's always positive in that sense. And like if we see a lot of acquisitions for traditional process mining bought by like big tech players, it makes total sense to like integrate like process mining visibility inside their own event logs what the system generates. Then I think like other side is that like what drives this kind of like a task mining market is of course like automation vendors, RPA vendors to like find more to automate those kind of workflows which can be substituted by robots. So I think, but like I see like third wave in that sense, like this kind of like a process plug and play process intelligence solutions which are easy to take into use and gets faster to the insights in that sense. And I see like lots of like happening in that space, and total market is so huge. Like I think like it's very untapped in that sense. Like when we think about how many global companies are there suffering for process or system inefficiencies, so I think that like total addressable market is so huge that I'm sure there will be many different companies who will be very big in this space, and I think like that will attract investments because like this kind of like a plug and play solutions which are going around the data capturing problems or implementation problems or adoption problems, they are basically creating the pie bigger. And of course like now like this kind of like acquisitions are educating the market when the big players are integrating process mining to their solutions. It's basically building the market education and creating the market bigger, but also these new vendor, new approaches are also like growing the pie and market to be bigger in the sense, and like most likely will attract a lot of like investments in the future. So I think like things are getting hotter and hotter all the time.
Hotter and hotter in Finland with the old Hot Vendor. I liked
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. That was good. I agree entirely. I think 90% agreeing that it could be hugely significant, but 60% saying it's too complex to use. I think that just proves that it's completely untapped and there's still so much potential. I mean, organizations, some of these are decades old, and the processes are decades old, built on technology that's built on technology that's built on technology. So we're almost at a legacy squared point, right?
Yeah.
So there's huge potential there. But coming back to Workfellow, you're young, you're new, you're growing quite aggressively. 12 to 18 months, what does it look like?
Well, now our full focus is in this work API. So like more data collection, better data collection side, and building this low code studio for it. So like more people can more easily determine like what kind of data they want to consume and collect. And then also the other side. So like we are betting a lot for this kind of like object-based data visualization in our platform. So and building self-serve capabilities. So what data you collect, then you can build your own dashboard very fast. What kind of data you want to visualize and digest or monitor in real time. And those are our right now full focus. Of course, I'm really excited about when I'm getting to publish big news about these very large enterprises we are working with right now, and we're adopting our technologies, because use cases what they're solving are not so typical, but those are really good in that sense that they are very different from traditional process mining, very business driven. So very excited to share those when those are coming public.
No, that's exciting. We'll look out for those. And I think after we're done filming this, you're flying out to Zurich, right, for I think a process lab. Is that something we're going to see a little bit more of? I think because educating clients and enterprises is so important when the technology is so complex. And I think you did one in Helsinki recently. You're doing one later today or tomorrow. Are we going to see a few more of those?
I think we are doing those. It has been very a good events. Tomorrow we are running that in Zurich, and it has been very exciting, because there is those who know and are looking to solve those implementation challenges, but we are seeing tremendous growth in the interest to process intelligence as a whole. So lots of those we are running in one in Vilnius as well. I think there is 60-70 people coming already to our event in Vilnius. So a really exciting times in this process intelligence space.
That's awesome. Really, really exciting. And I think finally, if we look forward 5 years, having touched on the fast moving market, 2028, sort of bit of a sneak peek. Are we looking for investment? Are we looking for acquisition? What do we think?
Well, I think our mission has been always to fix enterprise processes and system problems, so people wouldn't have to do a shitty work in there. So that has been our a mission as a company, really focus on solving these kind of big problems, from the processes and systems, but also that smart people would focus on really doing their work better. And if we are successful, I think our success criteria is that of course we have targets which we have to get, and grow our company, and then look what makes sense for the company. But we are really focused on for this journey and becoming this kind of a modern company and modern process intelligence software provider for these modern knowledge work enterprises. So where more people are spending time for meaningful stuff, and they're executing those business processes. So that is where we are going ahead, and let's see what comes out of it then. That story is one to be told.
Perfect. Nice. Smart people doing their work better, I think, is the key. Especially we're hearing a lot about talent wars and employees hopping around in the new hybrid environment. If you can really leverage a tool like Workfellow to improve their productivity and sort of their job satisfaction through that, you're going to sort of two birds, one stone, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's not a trade-off in that sense, that we're developing processes and not work circumstances and practices. So we look everything very holistically, and it's super important for us that we also improve this work side of things.
No, perfect. Well, look, Kustaa, I've really enjoyed speaking to you today. I think we're just about running out of time. So thank you so much for joining me. And thank you to everybody. And thank you to everybody that's listening. I hope you all have a great morning, afternoon, or evening.
All right. Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Bye-bye.